Righty then. Oh, look at that there. That's wrong. Let's get rid of that. Where do we even start to begin on this? This news breaking about this European Super League. Honestly, it's one of the worst things I've heard in terms of football, because football is all about the competitive spirit and the and everything being on merit. Nobody is immune from relegation. Currently across Europe, nobody gets given something because of something that happened in the past. Every single club is there based on how they perform and all the rest of it. And that, for me, is how it should be. That is what sport is built on. That is what football is built on. That is why the romanticism exists. I'll give you the background on it. I'll talk about what the format is, and I'll talk about some of the statements too, and let you know what people are saying about this. So the top 5 Premier League teams have signed up to a European Super League. You've got Liverpool, United, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Tottenham. And supposedly Manchester City will be involved. There was nothing confirmed up until an hour ago. I think that now has changed. There was meant to have been an outlining of a new Champions League format very soon from UEFA, and UEFA have started to threaten legal action against this project, which is being sort of called the European Super League. The Super League have announced that they're hoping to overshadow UEFA's plans by coming up with an entire new Champions League format, and we'll get that a little bit later on. The top clubs want to have more control in the competition for some reason, rather than having UEFA calling all the shots, which is how it currently works. Real Madrid and Barcelona in Spain, Juventus and AC Milan in Italy could make an announcement as early as today. I haven't seen those if they have. JP Morgan are financing the $4.6 billion deal for what is seemingly an Americanization of European football. Florentino Perez is said to be the chairman, with John W. Henry from Liverpool, Joel Glazer, fucker, from United, Stan Kroenke from Arsenal, and Andrea Agnelli from Juventus said to be the vice chairman. The latter was a strong ally of UEFA president Alexander Kaferin. There's no news from Bayern Munich and PSG currently on that. The new format that they were looking at, so this is the new Champions League format that they were looking at. It was going to increase it from 32 to 36 teams, 36-team league system. They're going to play 10 games each, 5 home and 5 away, seemingly cherry-picked across what was going to be in your group. There's going to be some extra spots. One of them's going to Ligue 1, one to a team performed well in the previous campaign. Last 2 safety nets for clubs who've underperformed and have a different coefficient. Which seemingly means that you can still qualify for the Champions League if you finish 5th to 7th. So there's a bit of a weird format to how the new Champions League was going to work. Then it seemed to come out that this European Super League thing was, well, for starters, it was a thing, and for twos, that it was likely to be having something coming out of that. So it just feels like a massive money grab. Supposedly, I've seen 350 million euros is going to be given to those who are like the founder clubs. And for starters, how are Arsenal and Tottenham in this? I would understand if it was United and Liverpool, and to a certain extent Chelsea, because for the last 20 or so years, Chelsea have been very successful in the Premier League and across Europe. I would understand it if those three was like, yeah, we're doing this. How the fuck have Tottenham and Arsenal, and even to a certain extent Manchester City, snuck their way into this sort of thing being a thing? Honestly, it's disgusting. If United don't qualify for the Champions League, we don't deserve to be in it. Simple as that. And as much as I hate Europa League, I never want to be just palmed into some bullshit competition because we won it in 2008. That's not what it's about. And the dream of any club in the football pyramid in any country across Europe can look at that and go, we can become European champions. Anyone can do that. Anyone can have that dream. Realising it is obviously difficult, and obviously something that goes on to a whole different argument altogether. But the fact that you can have that dream is a good thing. You can't just Nottingham Forest. Brian Clough takes over Nottingham Forest in the mid-70s. They're in the second flight of English football. He takes that team to the top flight of English football. In his first season, he wins the league. In his second season, he goes and wins the European Cup with Nottingham Forest. He then retains it while not winning the league the following season. Nottingham Forest have 1 top division English title and 2 European Cups because they qualified as winners and then went on to win the thing again, retaining it late 70s. That is a dream that exists. And it's a rarity, granted, that sort of thing can go on and happen. But that is a dream that exists. And that's why we love football, because it's fundamentally romantic. When you take the romance out of football, and VAR's having a good fucking go at that at the moment. I'm watching it with no fans at the moment. He's having a good fucking go at that. If you bring in this bullshit boys club where we just look after those with the money, what a load of utter tosh. Because if it wasn't for money investment, Paris Saint-Germain aren't at this table. City and Chelsea aren't at this table. They've bought their way into this stupid little boys club on the basis of they're currently rich. Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa should have more of a say than fucking Tottenham and Arsenal as well. I don't like it. Now, I'll read out the Premier League statement because there's been some statements from the Premier League. Let's just pull those up. UEFA has obviously had something to say about this, and fundamentally what they're saying is right and it's correct. Sky and BT, I'm sure, will have their own things to say about this, and they're going to be 100% opposed to this on the basis of they've just paid billions for both the Premier League and Champions League footage, and that is going to be massively devalued with this. What's the point in finishing second or third in the Premier League if it's the same 6 teams that are going to be guaranteed spots in this European Super League? It's absolutely nonsense. Right, so UEFA statement. UEFA and essentially the 6 federations may be planning to... I've learned a few... UEFA and the 6 federations have learned a few English, Spanish and Italian clubs may be planning to announce their creation of a closed so-called Super League. If this were to happen, we wish to reiterate that we, the UEFA, the English FA, RFEF, FICG, Premier League, La Liga, Liga Serie A, but also FIFA and all our member associations will remain united in our efforts to stop this cynical project, a project founded on self-interest of a few clubs at a time when society needs solidarity more than ever. We will consider all measures available to us at all levels, both judicial and sporting, in order to prevent this happening. Football is based on open competition and sporting merit. That is the best line in this entire thing. Football is based on competitions and sporting merit, not who your fucking dad was. As previously mentioned by FIFA and the 6 federations, the clubs concerned will be banned from playing in any other competition at domestic, European or world level, and their players could be denied the opportunity to represent the national team. That is UEFA. Yes, they're looking after their self-interest, but I think they're actually also looking after the game here in a way that's rare for UEFA. We think those clubs in other countries, especially French, we thank those clubs in other countries, especially French and German clubs who have refused to sign up to this. We call on all lovers of football, supporters and politicians to join us in fighting against such a project if it were to be announced. This persistent self-interest of a few has been going on for too long. Enough is enough. Wow. Gary Neville's been talking about point deductions, which I'm not sure that would stick. I think that would be challenged in courts, but the sentiment I understand. The Premier League statement is as follows. The Premier League condemns any proposal that attacks the principles of open competition and sporting merit, which are at the heart of domestic and European football pyramid. Fans of any club in England and across Europe can currently dream their team may climb to the top and play the best. We believe that a concept of a European Super League destroys this dream. The Premier League is proud to run a competitive and compelling football competition that has made it the most widely watched league in the world. Our success has enabled us to make unrivaled financial contributions to the domestic football pyramid. A European Super League will undermine the appeal of the whole game and have a deeply damaging impact on the immediate future and prospects of the Premier League and its member clubs and all those involved in football who rely on our funding and solidarity to prosper. We work with fans, the FA, the EFL, the PFA and the LMA, as well as other stakeholders at home and abroad to defend the integrity and future prospects of English football in the best interest of the game. Again, the Premier League has kind of nailed it there. This is nuts. One of the comments here said, would be awesome playing the top teams in Europe week in, week out. It wouldn't. It'd lose its allure. You'd get bored of it. You'd get bored of it when United and Real Madrid is 9th and 10th in the fucking Western Conference of the European Super League, and then you think that people are going to be interested in watching that. They're not going to be interested in watching that. Not in the slightest. You would get bored of that, and the fans would get bored of that. And I could see boycotts. I don't think it'll happen, but the most annoying thing is, as a Manchester United fan, that we're at the fucking top table of this thing. We're at the top fucking table of this thing, are the ones asking for it. We are part of the fucking problem. Fuck Perez, fuck the fucking Glazers, fuck John W. Henry from Liverpool, fuck that Andrea fucking whatever he's called. How, if you thought the Glazers was bad for the game, or bad for this club, wait till you see what they do when they get their fucking grubby little paws on the entire fucking game. They're killing it, or they want to kill it. It's absolutely nonsense. It's absolutely nonsense. I can't believe people are in the comments. I think they must be on a wind-up trying to defend this idea. The game has well and truly gone. It is the end of English football as we know it. One of the comments we got here, ironically, the Premier League's attraction of billionaire owners might have just killed it. It will kill it if this goes ahead, and I think that there's a chance that it's not going to go ahead now. I think the Premier League, UEFA have come out so strongly against this. I think that people understand this. Now, American sports works in America. I think your college system is admirable. Maybe it's not perfect, but I don't think the academy system's perfect either. I think getting an education would be good. I don't necessarily believe that people are getting a genuine education. I don't think, it's NFL or be a fucking brain surgeon. I think you might get to graduate and that's about you. I think that the American college system is a good system, but I don't necessarily like the closed leagues that you have in America. Whether that's NBA, NFL, NHL, whatever. I love the promotion and relegation. England as a nation is a fucking tiny nation, smaller than Texas. The amount of clubs that exist around here is insane in this country. The depth. Stretford Paddock, we're part of the pyramid. We're on level 14 of the pyramid. That's how deep the rabbit hole goes. Like, it goes all the way to 22. You can get 22 levels of English football. Stretford Paddock FC, my little fucking bullshit Saturday afternoon club. We're at level 14. There is a pathway. It's an unrealistic pathway. But there is a pathway. Actually, it's not that unrealistic that we get into the FA Cup and end up getting to the first round. That's, it happens on a regular basis for clubs down from level 10 onwards. But there is a pathway that with luck, with skill, you can navigate from where we are as a football club to the Premier League. Doesn't happen often, but it happens. Happened with Wimbledon going all the way up from the top. You've seen Salford. Salford have gone from, I think they were in level 9 when they were taken over by the class of 92. They're now in level 4. Level 4. With 3 more promotions, they're in the Premier League. That's what makes football brilliant. And it's not because, what we're doing and having a laugh and learning a little bit about the game, but it isn't about that. It's about the entire depth of everything. Lately, on the podcast to do with Rio, we've had Godfrey on. We was talking about Calvert-Lewin. We was talking about, I don't think Godfrey actually has. I think I was wrong on that one. But, we had Ollie Watkins on, and these are players who are now playing for England that have played in non-league. The pyramid is so vast and so deep it'll make your head spin. But the fact that they want to just completely just fucking fuck this off and just have it, that's what they want. They want a European version of the NFL but with soccer. That's what I think they want. How can you have 6 English teams in that? Quagirella in the comments says, logic and tradition in the world is quickly disappearing from people's rights, censorship to football. Yeah. Can't see Barcelona and Real Madrid joining with the amount of dollars they get from Spanish TV deals. The thing is, though, if it's 350 million to join, and maybe that's, if they're going to do that a season, I could see people jumping for that. Yeah, Reggie, the TV money in Barcelona, for Barcelona and Real Madrid is they basically get half of the money each between them two, and then the rest of the league gets whatever they don't eat. It's insane. Buan says, Sky can't take the moral high ground here. We all know they'll be front and centre for the broadcasting rights to the Super League. They have a clear vested interest in things staying as they are. Yeah. If UEFA block it, they can't make it work. Which of the big 3 in Spain are in this? I think it's Atletico plus the 2 obvious ones. JP Morgan, fucking United now trying to fuck European football. Honestly, the damage to the football across Europe will be mental. I can't tell you how angry this has made us. And you can talk about European Super League. It's been something that's happened a lot. A couple of years ago, I interviewed Martin Edwards in his house, in his living room, randomly. And at the time, just a couple of years ago, there was some talk of the European Super League. And I thought, well, here's a guy to ask. Because obviously the advent of the Premier League, well, what was different from the Premier League to the old First Division? There was a lot of administration changes. Weird things like, I didn't realise this was a thing, but you have to share half of your gate with the opposition. I didn't know that. And that was something that changed with the advent of the Premier League. They also allowed independent broadcasting rights. The Premier League was created as a company, and that had at the time I think it was 24 member clubs that broke away from English football and created this new league. And then they obviously linked together, and the old First Division became the Championship, and the pyramid carried on as it was because all of the clubs agreed to do this. And they had to do this, and I think you could say it was a success, but let's not have it twisted. This was still largely about money, and Sky was still had a big hand in that deal as it went down. And I think when you look back at it, you would say the Premier League breakaway ended up being a success. And obviously I was too young when it happened, but I don't really even know of any major opposition to it. I'm sure there was some. This European Super League, though, is entirely different because it's not based on the merit of promotion, relegation, and qualification. It's on some arbitrary number of, well, you as a founder member, so in you come. Like, none of the founder members of the original 24 Premier League teams were offered the chance to stick around forever and you'll never get relegated. Deleting relegation, taking relegation off the table would have absolutely killed English football. Wouldn't it? Relegation fucking sucks. But have you seen the Championship playoff games? They're fucking phenomenal. Sky has them on. Like, we watch them in the office all the time. They're genuinely top draw games because there's so much at stake, not just for the players and the clubs involved. They're fantastic. And the atmosphere on them is great. But that is replicated on a smaller and smaller scale all the way through the entire pyramid because sport's about romanticism. Like I said, I like aspects of the American system, but the lack of promotion and relegation, how much better would... and America could do it better than anyone as well. With the sheer scale of the place. Imagine you had... they've got the MLS. If they had MLS 2, MLS 3, where there was like, pretty big teams and they still had the promotion and relegation. They can still use their college teams as like academy teams, I guess. But below that, then it went state level. And you had to become state champions, and maybe there was a playoff amongst the different states to get into MLS 3 or something like that. That wouldn't really make soccer take off in America, because it gives everyone a chance to follow that. Texas, let's use Texas, or Florida or California. These big old places could really have real proper tournaments and leagues within those states that were competitive. And I think America misses out because of the sheer scale of it and the how far apart some of these MLS teams are. Some of the rivalries don't really quite exist. LA's got it because it's got two teams in one city. And I think maybe New York has it to a certain extent, but not quite like LA. LAFC and LA Galaxy have got a proper rivalry and it looks legit. And I think that's why it's taking off in LA, is because it feels real, because it is real. And that's just not a thing across the rest of it. But if you had state championships, which were leading towards being promoted into the MLS, you could have a team that does that, the so-called American dream, which doesn't actually exist in American sports because they're communist as fuck, going all the way up and getting into the MLS. Don't fucking Americanize European sport. There's no need to. It's fine as it is. I won't say it's perfect. I think it's probably going in a direction where it's increasingly just the plaything of multi-billionaires. But this feels... I can't even think of the word monopolistic. Feels opportunistic. It feels like an absolute scam. It's shocking. And I'm disgusted in my fucking club. Do you know what? This is the fucking club that Sir Matt built. And this is the club that Sir Alex carried on. And I always wanted to believe that Manchester United carried itself differently. Increasingly, and post Jose, that's not been the case. Manchester United used to be special and used to have a class about how we carried ourselves. I'm fucking disgusted in my club being my owners, because it's not my fucking club, but in our owners that we don't like, are trying to ram this down people's throats. It's fucking disgusting. And I thought talking about this tonight was better than trying to review that game, because ultimately, yes, decent 3 points, decent performance. This is more important. I'm absolutely disgusted with Manchester United on this. Right, I guess I'm going to wrap up. Like the video, subscribe. I'll do 5 things tomorrow and that can be my review. # no to ESL. Fuck 'em.